Today, O'Neill Power Systems has an evolutionary and a revolutionary product, not an evolutionary product, just completely different than anything on the market. And so what we're going to do today is hear first about a presentation about what the product is all about from Jerry, and then we're going to have our panel have their comments on the business plan that they were presented, and then we'll open it up for questions. Jim O'Neill, who's over on the left-hand side, he's the founder and president of O'Neill Power Systems, which is a development stage company focused on the design and manufacture of revolutionary power systems for VTOL, which is vertical takeoff and landing, UAVs, and other applications. His company produced proof-of-concept demonstration units featuring coaxial counter-rotation, and that's the unit right there, the first prototype unit, and they call it the NorEaster. Jim received a U.S. patent for his high-torque, low-velocity internal combustion engine not that long ago. The NorEaster has been the subject of student research projects at Worcester Polytech Institute. Jim received the 2012 Invention Award from Popular Science magazine for a simple helicopter engine. I actually don't think it's that simple, Jim, but I know you're going to. Previously, Jim was the president of Merco Packaging Division of Burkhardt Enterprises. Jim was also the president of BDS Marketing Division of Burkhardt. And Jim is a veteran of the U.S. Army and a retired first lieutenant. Jerry Kelly, who's the CEO of O'Neill Power Systems, he was the senior vice president of State Street Corporation, a global relationship management corp focused on federal official institutions in the United States. He chaired the American Sales Council and was a member of the Sovereign Asset Steering Committee and the Latin American Steering Committee. Jerry has spent a considerable amount of time in Brazil and led the Brazil Market Entry Initiative for the company. Previously, he was responsible for managing the institutional sales of State Street Global Advisors in the United States and Latin America. Prior to joining State Street, Jerry served as a senior vice president for John Hancock Financial Services, where he managed venture capital leasing and aircraft leasing units. Jerry held various sales positions with manufacturers Hanover's, ITEL, and IBM. Jerry earned his MBA from Babson, an AB in political science from Fairfield University, and attended Suffolk University Law School, and completed his executive management program at Emory University. He's the chairman also of the Board of Alliance for the Responsible Siting of Alternative Energy Sites. And Jerry is going to put on the presentation today, so I introduce Jerry Kelly.
Thank you, Larry. First off, I would like to thank all of you for coming tonight. Larry, Toby, Alan, Kristen, for giving us your time, your study, and your comments. I'd like to thank everybody in the audience who came tonight. I'd like to thank Melinda for her dogged determination to get us here tonight. With me is Jim O'Neill, who is the inventor. Bill O'Neill, who made sure that we got the patent filed. Jack O'Neill, who does the electrical work and is the problem solver on the power system. David Menard at the back of the room, who works with me. We go around with the dustpan and the brush and do everything that the scientists don't do. David, I'm going to start calling you David O'Neill going forward, okay? We're challenged. We've got a great product. We're called O'Neill Power Systems, but we're trying to get a new product into a new market and a new segment of that new market. So we've got the triple trifecta here. If it works, it's tremendous. Everybody's hearing about drones every single day. You know, page A2 of today's Boston Globe talked about drones. The segment they were talking about today was recreational drones and the hazard that they are to aviation. You know, they cited drones, recreational drones at 10,000 or 20,000 feet in the area of airports, Tallahassee, Pittsburgh, and other airports where they've had near misses with drones that could have been catastrophic. The FAA has been charged by Congress to come out with a roadmap, a plan for the operation of drones in the commercial airspace by the third quarter of 2015, 12 months from now, 11 months from now. They've come out with a roadmap that looks pretty much like Dodd-Frank, the financial regulation. Dodd-Frank was almost 1,000 pages, and it was just an outline of what they were going to do. The FAA's is about 100 pages. And while the FAA does not regulate drones in the commercial airspace, people are just flying them. And they're becoming even more of a hazard. There are 117 requests for certification from the FAA. The FAA only approves it for first responders, Border Patrol, and research institutions such as UMass Dartmouth or UMass Amherst. So our challenge is to describe to you the new product, the new market, and how the hell do we get into it. Going too fast. Who we are. We live in this building. We're part of the technology incubator here at the ATMC. The ownership, the principal owner is Jim O'Neill. We all work for Jim. Our other owners include David Bernard, Bill, Jim, Butch Ambrosio, and Bob Norton, as well as AMI Precision Machine in Middleborough, who is manufacturing the parts for the NorEaster and would be our manufacturing partner if we chose to go that route. Bob Norton is a professor emeritus from Worcester Polytech. Bob is a specialist in a lot of things, including kinematics, if anybody wants to talk a little bit about kinematics. Design, vibration, and the dynamics of machinery. He's published 3 textbooks that have been translated into multiple languages, and his textbooks on computer-aided manufacturing and CAM design are to this day used in the syllabus of the top engineering schools in the country, including MIT, Carnegie Mellon, and Purdue. We're a development stage company. We're bootstrap funded. We're a veteran-owned small business. And we know that what we need to do is test this, prove the theory, deliver the technical specs, and at that point we can go to market. We'll talk about the timeline for that in a minute. Our product. Now, a lot of this is going to sound like I'm talking in Uzbek. Our product is a unitized power system for VTOL UAVs. Mother of God, what does that mean? Well, it's one system that's a combination of an engine and a transmission. A VTOL UAV is simply a helicopter drone. Vertical takeoff and landing, unmanned aerial vehicle. What we have here in the NorEaster, it eliminates the need for the helicopter boom and the tail rotor because it is a coaxial counter-rotation. So given the patented technology, the cams will turn two different axles in here in different directions, and have a rotor above and a rotor below. Why is that important? Well, it's important because it's going to be much more compact than the current state-of-the-art of helicopters. It will have a lower empty weight, which means that it will have a higher payload or ability to carry things. It will be far safer. It will have a greater power-to-weight ratio. And when you eliminate all of that intricate gear reduction and tail rotor, it's a lower cost. Larry already talked about our Popular Science Award. That was in conjunction with an MQP, a major qualifying project with a group of students at WPI. Recent developments with us. This past summer, Jim and Bill Lombardi attended the Oshkosh Air Show, which is the largest air show in the world in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We were one of 7 companies to exhibit at the Innovation Center. And it was a great opportunity for primary research with the American farmer. We were awarded the Department of Army Category 2 designation. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Department of Defense, there's Category 1, Category 2, and Category 3. Category 1 says that you have scientific and technical merit and you're funded. In the competition that we were in, that included Sikorsky, Northrop Grumman, and Honeywell. Not an O'Neill Power Systems group. Not yet. Category 2 said you have scientific and technical merit, but we don't have money for you. And Category 3 says you don't have scientific or technical merit. So we were proud of the Cat 2 designation that we received. We've had multiple primary research meetings with the Army Propulsion Labs and with the Air Force Propulsion Labs. Our prototype is in the final stages of manufacture. We were selected as a Mass Ventures START finalist in, it was the fall of 2012. There were 63 companies that were invited to apply, 19 that were finalists. They funded 11. Unfortunately, we made it to the 19, but not the 11. All of us hear about the size of the drone marketplace. For the Department of Defense, the Predator, the Scan Eagle, the vehicles that have populated the skies of Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, it's a mature market there. It's got a CAGR forecast through the remainder of the decade of 12% annually. It's pretty impressive. It's an $89 billion marketplace with $5.2 billion in annual expenditures, but it's a mature market. So why is it important to us? Well, there's still going to be buyers, number one, but they're a great source of DARPA grant funding. The other market is the commercial market that I talked about, the FAA rules writing on it right now. Market is estimated to be a $12 billion market by 2013. And people have said that when the FAA opens this up, it's going to be a seismic event. Similar to the acceptance of the internet or the automobile or the personal computer. You know, the effort right now is to demilitarize and democratize drones, which means bring it into a commercial market and make it available to corporate America. Some of the organizations that are focused upon the drone industry are Facebook. And these aren't people that you'd think would be in the drone marketplace. Google and Amazon. Amazon, everybody knows from the 60 Minutes piece, for package delivery. The current state of the technology makes that a nice dream, but not a reality at this point in time. The way you're going to be able to get a package delivered to apartment 23B on Lexington Avenue, I don't quite know how that's going to happen. But there'll be some derivative of that will happen. Facebook wants to create a drone the size of a Boeing 787 and have it long endurance to provide Wi-Fi access to 75% of the globe. It's remarkable what they're hoping to do. And Google is investing heavily for their mapping technology, which is a huge part of Google's business. Our focus as we go forward will be the agricultural industry. It is an enormous market. And at the current time, there is not a solution. As Peter Beaton will tell you, there are big manned helicopters available at $1,100 to $1,200 an hour in order to do crop dusting. There's also available the drones that you can buy on the internet or at Brookstones that are battery powered, that you can launch, controlled by your iPhone, and has a very good camera on there that can identify a problem. But there isn't anything that can treat problems that are identified, and that's the focus of what we have. So the addressable market for us is expected to be $5.2 billion over the next 10 years. That's just the helicopter segment of the domestic drone marketplace. Now, there'll be a sub-segment that we're going to be focusing upon, which are medium-sized drones. And the primary focus will be precision agriculture. What the hell is precision agriculture? It's treating only what needs to be treated. It's collecting real-time data on weather, soil, air quality, crop maturity, and what issues they have that need to be fixed. If we take a look at the UAVs that currently are in the market, or drones, I'm using the term interchangeably. They're primarily fixed wing. You can see right here, only the Fire Scout is a helicopter. It's not a terribly efficient helicopter, and it's big. It's only got a payload of 600 pounds. That's small. You know, once you figure that fuel on the thing at 7.15 pounds per gallon, if you put 30 gallons on, you're up to 350 pounds of payload. So you don't have a lot of usable payload there. Now, in reality, its gross weight is about 1.5 tons, and it's a weapons delivery system. So, you know, its gross weight, the weapons delivery system contributes a lot to that. All of the other drones that you're looking at there are fixed wing. And it shows you that the use of drones is virtually everywhere in the world. few places in the world is it both commercial and military. Most places in the world, it's just commercial. As a matter of fact, we've been contacted by corporate farmers from Argentina that wanted to talk to us about deploying our power system for their drones down there. Given the Fernandez administration and the problems of Argentina, it probably isn't my first choice as far as an external market to penetrate. When we take a look at the market as it currently exists, we have very large turbine helicopter drones out there like the Fire Scout that you just saw at 1.5 tons. We've got the handheld battery operated drones, and we've got the Sahara Desert in between. As a matter of fact, from some of the integrators, which are the manufacturers, they've told us that if we build this, test it, and come to them, that they will fly it because there's an absence of power systems in the middle market here. Turbines don't downscale well, and battery operated drones run out of that battery awfully quickly. And it's limited as to the payload that it can carry. What we're looking at right here would be the middle size of the market. And it's not to scale, but we're looking at the Northrop Grumman Fire Scout, which has about a 600-pound payload. And we're looking at the Yamaha RMX, which has got 2 tanks on it, each of which carries approximately a gallon of spray, 2 gallons of spray. So this thing can probably carry 4 gallons of spray, or about 28 pounds, plus the fuel. The Fire Scout's retail cost is about $18 million. The Yamaha RMX is about $100,000. That's the military multiplier there. The Yamaha RMX has been deployed in Japan and accounts for about 95% of the crop dusting in Japan at the current time. There was a study that was done by AUVSI that forecast that the market was going to be a, $3 trillion marketplace within a year of the FAA approval. All of that was based upon the Japan experience of 5-acre farms. We're not a country of 5-acre farms, so their research was faulty. And despite being cited by the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, the New York Times, Bloomberg, and everybody else, it was subsequently discredited. But even if a fraction of that is only true, this is an enormous market, the agricultural market, as we go forward. So our challenge is we've got a power system that nobody else has. It's patented, it's revolutionary, it's going to allow for a much more efficient helicopter drone, but we've got to prove that to people, and we're in the midst of doing that right now. The advantages that we bring to the market, number one is that it's going to be awfully cost effective. It'll be between $100,000 and $150,000 less, right, Jim, for the power system alone? Much less. That would be for an integrator's UAV. We're probably $50,000 at small production quantities, and the cost will plummet as we become more efficient as we go forward. So it's a very cost-effective solution. If an integrator was to use this as the power system for one of their drones, they could come to market with a drone at about $150,000. If one was to assume that they're paying a manned helicopter to crop spray $1,300 an hour, $13,000 a day, it doesn't take long for this to become accretive. So it probably pays back in less than 2 weeks. That's the market that we're going after. They say the ultimate in refinement in technology is simplicity, and that's what this is. Jim's got a revolutionary cam system here. It's asymmetric, it's perfectly balanced, but it's simple. There are fewer moving parts than you're going to find. More dependable and safe. It becomes field maintainable. It isn't something that's going to be down for months on end. And given the increased power density, we can carry a much bigger load than the current state of the art. I think I went the wrong way there. Our challenge is, how do we access the market once we have our technical specifications? We can become the integrator who manufactures these things, and that would be crazy. There are integrators out there in the space, both big and small. The small ones are people like In Situ and Scion and Techsburg, TechWorks and Command. The only one that you know would be Command because they're an awfully good guitar manufacturer, where they were. The big ones are names that you know: Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Textron, General Atomics. Unless you're in the drone industry, you wouldn't know General Atomics. They were a creation of the Reagan White House. They're located in Orange County, California. They're the aviation arm of the old General Dynamics, and they are the powerhouse in the military drone marketplace. So if we presume that we're not going to become the integrator or drone manufacturer, we need to identify who these integrators are that we can sell to. We've already done the primary research in meeting with many of those, or license our technology to them, or sell the technology if somebody wants to buy. If you take a look at the hairline of us, or the hair color, we're not in this for the 30-year run. So our considerations that we're going to pose some of these questions to the panel are: do we go after the commercial market or the Department of Defense market? How do we operate in an uncertain regulatory environment? We've got to demonstrate our theory with prototype testing, and we anticipate that we will finish the manufacture of the prototype over the next 2 months. We will then bench test it on a dyno to get some of the technical specifications, and then flight test it at Joint Base Cape Cod. All of this by Q2 2015. We need your advice on market access. This is not a market extension. We're not taking an existing product and repurposing it for another market segment, or repricing it to catch another market. We need to work with the integrators out there to develop an awareness of them, to develop a need that they don't know they have, and then to be able to satisfy the need. That concludes my prepared comments. Larry, thank you very much.